All right, welcome you guys to the Tuesday night training. I'm so excited that you're here. And why am I so excited that you're here? Because I'm going to show you guys about the new Cheetah. Woo! Yay! You guys excited? Yeah, you don't look excited. Most of you guys look like you're going to slip into a coma. What is wrong with you? Yeah, it's really exciting, you guys. Cheetah is such a great builder so far. We have the beginning of something amazing. There's no doubt about it. So have any of you guys jumped in and checked out Cheetah yet? Oh yeah, so Dusty has, Davita has, Larry has, Chip has, Dominic has. Fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous. So we're just going to do some basic stuff today. I'm going to show you an overview of how it works, how you can get into things and do things. I'm still exploring and finding out things myself. And as you guys know, this is, oh, I cha-chinged again. This is like a great night to cha-ching. Woohoo! But we're going to explore and see what it can do. But you guys know that this is a work in progress. It's an MVP product, minimum viable product. That means that we threw it out to you with minimal capabilities, knowing that there's a lot of work we have to do still to have it up and running and perfect. So as we learn more in Cheetah and Cheetah changes, you may see something that works now and it will be different. It'll look different later. I'm getting discombobulated by these cha-chings, you guys. It's such a great thing, but it's really crazy when it happens like right in a row. But so far, can somebody share with me what they like about Cheetah? What's something that you like about Cheetah so far?
Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
The speed is awesome.
Yeah, the speed, yes, absolutely. Now, are you talking about the speed as in the page load or the speed as in how fast you can build?
Everything.
That's fewer clicks.
It's lightning speed.
Both. Yeah.
I think it's very smooth. It just really moves really easily.
Right. I agree with you there too. Exactly. You guys are both on point. When we talk about loading pages in Cheetah, it's like Shazam. And it's not like only Shazam, but when you look at the mobile, it's like Shazamier. I don't even know if you can use that as a word, but it's like even better because the mobile is now way easier to play with and do stuff with, and it's just prettier. The mobile's prettier without the effort you had to do with Pixel Perfect. You know, I'll never bash Pixel Perfect and the way that Pixel Perfect works because I love it. But getting that mobile exactly the way you wanted it was work. That's all it was work. But with Cheetah, it's like, whoop, there it is. It's like, holy cow, I wasn't even ready yet. It's ready. So the mobile is absolutely amazing. It's so fast. It's so smooth that you don't even really notice that it's switching over from a desktop view to a mobile view. Very nicely done. And then, of course, we can build really fast. We have those panels, which to me are just another word for banners, right? We use banners in Pixel Perfect. We use panels in Cheetah. And the panels are very easy to pull in and edit a little bit, and then you're ready for that section to be done. Yep.
I think, you know, I had a question about the distinction between first fold and blocks, but I figured it out, or with help from the community. That first fold, all of those options include an H1 text that SEO wants at the beginning, and all the blocks don't.
That's right. The most important thing about the first fold is that's what we typically call that first part. Seriously, I just said that word. First part of the website. When you open up a brand new website, that first part of the website that loads that you see, that's called the first fold. And that first fold is really important because that's where your most important message is, and you need your first and most important H1 tag there for SEO purposes, because that's what Google is going to look for, is that H1 tag, and it needs to be in that first fold in bright big bold letters so people see it and SEO sees it. So you've got pre-made first fold panels in Cheetah, and they are really nice panels. They've really done a good job. Terry, did you have something to add? I think you're.
I do, actually.
Oh, my mic was on. No, I'm sorry. I was adjusting my new speakers. I had to plug in some new speakers.
So that's great.
Shelley, I had a question.
Go ahead.
And I hope that actually you're going to cover it. So just in case you don't, the one thing that I had a problem with in regards to the actual Cheetah was the mobile view.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm coming actually on to the call to make sure that I can actually figure out how to actually use it. One of the problems is the fact that when I would actually remove the elements and hide them in the mobile view, the actual viewer for the mobile would get smaller and smaller until it disappeared every time I removed an item. And so I did put a ticket in, and they were saying that they were going to take it back to the developer, but I want to see on your end whether or not that still is happening, the same way on your end as well.
Okay. So when I get into the mobile, Yvonne, just flag me down, and we'll see if we can recreate your problem. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Chip, go ahead.
My question is, where to go? If you put in a button, you can link that button to all sorts of things, including pages. But if you highlight text and go to the link, it just wants a URL. It doesn't have the option of linking to a page. Any idea if that's supposed to stay that way?
Oh, no, I'm sure that's going to change. I can't speak 100% because I'm not in the developer's minds. But back in Pixel Perfect, when you did that link in text, it could link to a page, it could link to a website, it could link to open an email, it could link to open a phone call, it could, all those, that whole big list of things. And I'm assuming that that's the direction we're going with Cheetah as well. It's just going to take a little while to get all of those features put in.
And is it true that headers and footers would have to be added to each page individually?
Yes, because of the way Cheetah is built, we build each page separately, so that the things don't carry over. Like you don't build just a header and then that header's on every page in that layout. But you've got the way to put a header into your personal saving place. Yeah. So if you want to grab it and use it again, you can grab it and use it again on multiple pages.
Right. I had one more. Oh, well, we'll come back. Except that I'd love some recommendations on font sizes.
Okay. Great. All right. I have a resource on that, so I'll see if I can.
Oh, it was how do you get from one page to the next in a website, or can't you do that yet?
We're working on menus, so if you can build right now in Cheetah, you can build one page, and you can do neat stuff on one page. But menus are still not quite ready for you to add in. You can add in a menu, but configuring the menu is a little tricky. So it's not quite ready. So building like a funnel to go from page to page is not quite ready. So that's coming. But the way you'd have to do it is you literally have to build your header, put your menu in there, save that header, and then put it on top of all the pages once you build other pages, once that menu's ready. Okay.
Thank you.
I saw also that I saw also that they put a little button on the editor that has tutorials.
It does.
Like, yeah, yep. I saw that. I was like, what?
Right. Yeah, it's a little question mark, and if you click that, it's like, whoop, there they are.
Well, no, now it says tutorials.
Oh, does it say tutorials now?
Yeah, it says tutorials right next to where you open the ruler, because that was one of the things that I had I was trying to figure out is like if you put on a pop-up, and they were saying that my elements wouldn't slide onto the screen when I clicked it, and then they sent me the actual the video, and now it's in the tutorial. Then you have to actually open up the panel first and then put the elements in. So I was like, I can't figure this out, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely an order that you have to do it, and they've made it pretty standard that you have to pull in the panel first, and then you can start pulling in the elements. And it's even a little bit picky. I'm not sure if it's still doing this because I submitted it to the developers. But in Pixel Perfect, we could take blocks and then slide something into a block. And I've tried a block and then taking it directly from the sidebar and trying to drag it over and drop it on the block. It doesn't like that. It wants to be dropped directly on the panel. And then once it's on the panel, I can drag it and drop it on the block. So we'll take a look at that again today and see if it's still like that. Okay.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of little idiosyncrasies that we're going to work with and work through and work around for a while they beef up the Cheetah to work seamlessly. But right now, it truly is an MVP product. Of all my time on the internet, of all the things that I've done on the internet, of everything that I've been a part of, this is the most MVP product I've ever seen, which means it is not ready for prime time yet. We are still building and playing and growing, and you guys are such a huge, important part of driving that process. And let me really share with you. I know you guys are here to see Cheetah and see me training, but I do want to emphasize one thing, and that is try really hard not to be discouraged. I would be excited to see and get to be a part of this software being built and growing. Number one reason is you guys are influential in making sure this Cheetah product is exactly what we want and exactly what we need. And I'm saying that because you guys have just as much power as I do on driving what things are added to Cheetah and what Cheetah needs to be able to be a good platform. So you've got the ability to submit changes to make things better. You've got the ability to submit bugs to show them it's not working. You guys do that. Flood them with that stuff so that when we come out of this with the final product, it will be exactly what you, the community, wanted and need for your business. To me, that's really, really exciting. Pixel Perfect's there. You can still build in there. You can still create your funnels in there. You can have a hey-ho time in Pixel Perfect. But remember to jump into Cheetah and help us build that perfect web builder. And that part is exciting. Yvonne, I can imagine you having a finger somewhere in that product where you submitted something to the developers. And for years from now, you can say that little thing that Cheetah does, that was me. Right?
Yeah, and you know what, actually, and I would just say this real quick, is that when I first started, I've been using a lot of other products, builders, because I'm just getting new into the market itself. And so when I came across Builderall, I was like, I've never even heard of Builderall. And when I actually started just trying to play around with it, I was super frustrated. I mean, I was like, this builder is beautiful, actually, and I can see that it is better than all the rest of the builders, just in the way that it works, but I couldn't figure out how it worked. And it was just all like, there was such a big difference. And so there was a lot of frustration, and I went to support and said, hey, I want to just cancel my account because I got all these other products and I really need to not have such a learning curve. But at the same time, they were like, oh, what can we do? And I realized, first of all, they want to even talk to me about it. Second of all, they have the actual chat on there so that you can at least talk to someone and have them figure out how does it work compared to other builders and stuff like that. And I was like, honestly, I have my ClickFunnels account, so I'm like, I'm ready to cancel that account. If you could just get me to the point where I need to so that I can, but I can't, cancel it right now. So that's why I get on the training calls, even if I watch them on the video. So I'm like, if I'm not going to sit there and learn it, then I don't have anything to complain about. So I have to actually just know that that I'm at least trying.
Good. Good. I'm excited about it because I think at some point when you get the kind of the lay of the land and it just starts to become natural now because you've learned how Builderall operates and how the software works, you'll look back and go, I'm just not sure why I was ever so frustrated with it, right? But it takes time, just like anything else, just like when you work with ClickFunnels, just like when you're working with WordPress, there's a learning curve with all of them. And then once it starts to become intuitive to you because you're starting to understand the design that the developers are going with, it starts to get easier and better.
Yeah, and I mean, I just actually the other day, I was like, I'm really super tired. I'm ready to go to bed. And you know what? It said, do you want to actually cancel? And I said, yes. And I clicked the trash can and I canceled the layout and not the page. So let me tell you, 7 or 8 pages gone in an instant.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. But I realized I can go back and rebuild the pages. Now I feel a lot more comfortable with rebuilding the pages And I'm like, I can do them. And I decided to, maybe I should just do them in Cheetah. Maybe it was, a sign.
It may have been a sign. You're exactly right. Just remember
Yeah.
to give yourself permission to take the time to learn.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
hard part, is everybody does want to be able to learn in a day or two. And just to give you a overview, we did certified partner training. We've got a few certified partners in here with us right now. And they'll tell you that just the Pixel Perfect alone, we spent 3 months on Pixel Perfect. And that was every single day for 2 to 3 hours a day, every weekday. Chip had to live through my training, and he survived. But there's just so much, and that was the Pixel Perfect. So with the Cheetah, we've got a lot of stuff to go to build it up to be as full and robust as the Pixel Perfect is. But I think once we do another certified partner training, that process of training won't be as long, because everything it feels like it's a lot easier in Cheetah. So if there's a glimmer of hope there, just know that it is happening a little bit easier and faster in Cheetah, but it's still going to be a lot to learn. Even when they get it all built and all there and all ready to go and up to speed with Pixel Perfect, we'll still have the opportunity to actually do a certified partner training that will take a few months to cover, because it's just a lot of material. No doubt about it. Chip?
But it is a great training. I wonder whether the developers have made big bucks on coffee.
I know I've done my part.
It's hard to not pitch in when you see how much is coming out from there.
Right. That's exactly it. You are so right. Terry, I think you were going to say something too, maybe? Terry has that look like, I'm going to say something.
Well, I don't know. It's just going, all the agreement, that's one thing. I think you're absolutely right, Shelley. Going through the certified partners was, such an undertaking, and going through it and coming out of it, as I'm now approaching the Cheetah Builder, it's like, oh no, I'm okay with the process, because it is a process. You really have to get in there, and you have to build right along with Shelley or whoever's teaching, try it out, scrap it all. I've got so many playground pages, it's ridiculous. I'm probably competing with Shelley now. I don't know. But it's really, I think you're spot on there, is we are sitting in an amazing place, because Builderall is changing the landscape and going to be around a long time. And I tell you what, I'm kind of proud to be able to say, hey, you know what? I remember the first computer when it was in a building. It was a whole building. And now I'm in the front edge of really helping contribute to a really disruptive and groundbreaking piece of software. So just have fun,
That's it.
We all have to learn it, even Shelley.
Right. That's right. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, I just pumped out, I think, 20-ish videos.
Yeah.
And there's more coming. We've got a lot more coming. I'm jumping into some of the more advanced stuff early, so that we can really get some good stuff in there for you guys. So training is coming out as I'm able to do the training and get them out. And guys, it's pretty cool what we got. So let's go ahead and dive like deep into Cheetah, because it's so exciting to get you guys started. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And here I am on my dashboard. And look at all of that. Look at that scrolling. I actually did really cha-ching quite a bit. All right, so right here is Cheetah. And I'm just going to go ahead and click in there and then click enter. And so we're entering the software, and it's real bare bones, not a lot of fluff in here, right? It's not just gorgeous, but that's okay. I think that as we keep going, it will actually keep changing and look different. So just be prepared for that. This site list looks this way today. It may not look this way tomorrow as they make changes. But let's talk first about the site list and what we can do. So we have the ability to add categories. So I can look at all my categories of sites, or I can create a new category and then put some of these websites into categories to be able to organize them and find them better. So I might make a category of test sites. Let's do that. I'm going to create a category. I'm going to call it test sites. And these are test sites that can eventually be deleted. There we go. And I'm going to click save. And now I have a category called test sites. And from here, I can actually add the websites. I don't think we have it in here yet to be able to do that, but we will be able to add these into those categories. We can categorize them. And then like all my test sites, I'll be able to go here, click test sites, and Shazam, I will have only the test sites that are there. Let me click that. So there's nothing there yet. And we'll click this edit. And that allows us to change the name. And then I can go back to all. So we will be able to add sites to categories and be able to filter out real quickly the sites that we need to work on. That's a big deal, because if you guys could see my dashboard with all the pixel perfect sites that I have a whole heck of a lot of sites, and I can categorize them and actually organize them to be able to get to the site quickly that I want to get to. I also have alphabetized, so I can alphabetize my sites based on A to Z or Z to A. So if I click A to Z, everything is in order based on the first letter of that site. So they're all in alphabetical order now. I can also organize them as to when they were created. I can do time ascending, which is from the newest to the oldest, I think, or oldest to the newest. And then descending, which is newest to oldest. That's it. So you can organize that way too. And then we've got the search. This is really great because I lose my website sometimes. So if I'm looking for something like panels, I can just type that in and it pulls up the websites that I have on that name. If I know just the start of a name, like SOCI or Social Media Explosion, I can do just 3 or 4 letters and then hit return or click the search bar, and it pulls back exactly all of the websites that have SOCI inside of it. So you can even do just a partial and it will pull those up. So the search is really important too. If you want to go back to seeing all of them, you just empty your search bar and click enter, and it will pull up all of your sites for you. So that's a good area to understand that you can organize your sites well and be able to filter quickly. The next one, if I click over here on the website and I click this down arrow, the capability here is I can connect a domain. I can go straight to my published website. I can publish my website, or I can delete my website. So that's the power I have in that little down arrow. Then I can actually click on this link right here to go to the active site once it's published. I can also upload an image share right here, so I can have an image that I'm looking at instead of this computer with a line through it. And then I can click edit website, and I can go into the editor and actually start editing my site page by page. So those are all the things that I have available as far as here in this area, and then on my actual card for my website. If I want to create something from scratch, I just go over here to create new website, and I'm going to click create new website. So the first thing I have to do is pick a name. So we'll do Tuesday night training. And then I'll just copy that and put it into the description. And then I'll click save. And what that's going to do now is it's going to create my new website and throw it to the end of the list. So there it is right there. And now I'm going to go ahead and click edit the website to go in and start editing. And here's where we start with the Cheetah Builder. And that is, we're going to start in the My Site area. And in the My Site area, it's going to show you all the pages that you have in that website. So right now I only have one page, and that is the home page. That's the default page that it creates for you when you start a website. So I'm here in this My Site area. I'm going to go to my website settings. So what this is when I click website settings, these are the settings that affect the entire website, not just one page, but the entire website. So I'm going to click that, and it opens up a window where I can edit a few things. So I'm going to collapse this so you can see all of them. So we've got the general settings, SEO settings, and script settings. So under general settings, if I expand that, I can change the title of the website, the URL of the website. I can choose which categories it belongs to. So here's where we should pick the categories. That's actually new. It wasn't there yesterday. So this is a process, you guys, and this is a new one. So click test sites. So now this belongs to that test site category. I can do a description, and then I can also add a favicon. And what a favicon is if you look up here on my tabs, you can see that on the YouTube tab, it's got the little YouTube symbol. That little image is a favicon. So you can add your little favicon here. The typical size for them is 80 by 80. So if you've got a little favicon you want to add, you add it right there. So once you fill all that information out, you can then expand the SEO settings. And under SEO for the website, we can do keywords, and we can also do meta tags. And then after SEO settings, we've got script settings. This is going to be an important one. These are scripts that affect your entire website. So if you've got a script that you want to be on every page in your website, then you need to put it right here. Your Facebook pixel script can go right here, and your analytics script like Google Analytics can go right here. Once you make all the changes to those areas, so you've got the general settings, SEO, and script settings, you click save, and it's going to save all those settings for you and send you right back to your site overview. And here's where you can start jumping in to edit pages. Now, when you're done with this area, the site overview, you can go back home, so you can click that button. Or over here, we've got a cool button called Edit Items. If you click that, you're going to see pop-ups. So pop-ups are going to be available, and these are going to be available across websites. So I can create a pop-up. So I'm going to click Create Pop-up, and we're going to say Test Pop-up, and click Save. So I've got a new test pop-up. I'm going to edit the pop-up. So we'll jump in there and take a look at editing. And it looks exactly like the Cheetah editor, oddly enough. And you can go to Add. You can add panels, elements, and fonts. There's settings for each item that you pull up. There's a personal area. So you can add a lot of different things inside of here in this pop-up. But what's cool about the pop-up is you're going to be able to use it anywhere on your website, and you're pre-setting it up so you can pull it into your website. So that's the idea behind pop-ups, is you're going to create it first, and then inside the website, you'll attach it to the page. So we'll talk a lot more about pop-ups once they get that more ready. There'll be a tutorial specifically on that. So I'm going to click Cheetah MVP, and that should take us back to our site list. And then I'll go over here to Tuesday night training. And I'm going to go ahead and edit the website and get back to my page overview, sorry, my site overview. And here's my page that I have right here. Let's go ahead and start editing our page. So I'm going to click Enter Editor. And now this is the Cheetah editor. And I'm going to go through all the menus to make sure you understand everything that you see. So this little icon up here in the top left, that's the home button. That's the one that if you click it, you're going to go all the way back to the beginning of Cheetah. And then right here, we've got the coffee cup. This is what Chip was talking about. If you click there, you have the ability to donate to the developers. And they call it donating a cup of coffee. So if you want to donate $2 to them, you can donate through PayPal, or you can do it with the credit card, and you can make them very, very happy developers indeed. The next one is feedback. If you think that Cheetah needs to have a specific feature, or if a feature is not working the way you think it should be, this is the place that you put your recommendations, your ideas, your suggestions. All of that goes into the feedback area. And let me tell you, they get this feedback and they take it internally, and anything that's viable, that makes sense, they will add to their list to do. I've got so many things I've added, and it's funny because I'm afraid to send them things now, because I think I could say, I need to make sure that there's a pink polka dot elephant image put on the top right corner of every page. And I think they would actually do that. So submit your feedback, because they want to hear it. They want to know what you need to make Cheetah better. And then if you do find a bug, there's a report bug button. And definitely click that one, and they take those very serious and they act on those really fast. Everything I've submitted to the developers, they have jumped all over. The next one is background page. This is where you select the background of your page. So I'm going to click on that. And you can see that it took me to settings and then style and then background. So we're setting the style of the background of the page. So if I click background, I can choose my background color, or I can choose an image to be the background. So let's go ahead and just create a light gray color for our background. So I'm going to go really light gray, not quite white, just like that. And then I can click that color bar again to get rid of the color picker. And now I've got a light gray background to my website. So that's how you change the background, is you click background of the page, and that'll take you to settings and style, and then you can set the color or an image for your background. The next icon is desktop. This is activated when you're in desktop mode. So everything I do here when I'm editing is what's going to appear on the desktop. If I want to edit the mobile, I just click the mobile view, and this will show me what the mobile view looks like so far. And I don't have anything there, so it's not showing anything. But as I build, I can actually bounce into mobile and see what it looks like, and then bounce back to desktop to continue building on the desktop. The next button, and this is the one that I think Yvonne was talking about, it was a question mark earlier today. Now it's the actual word tutorials, which is great. If you click that, it's going to pull up a pop-up, and on that pop-up, you've got a bunch of tutorials. And you can click on these tutorials and find out more information about the different things that you can do on Cheetah. And then once you're done, you can just click close.
Are those your tutorials?
These are, I don't think these are mine, but I think they were talking about putting some of mine up. So I'm not sure if they're going to add mine in there or if mine are going to stay in the Builderall Training Center. But either way, we've got these tutorials and the tutorials that I made. So I think that we're going to probably cover you up in tutorials for a while. All right, the next one is show ruler. If you click this, there's a ruler that shows up at the top, and that is super helpful in helping you line things up really well. So when you're putting something together on the builder and you're trying to space it just right, I am not good at eyeballing anything. Like putting something in the center, I always try to eyeball it first and then actually click the button, and it always ticks over. I'm always off a little bit. So using that ruler is a huge help in lining things up and helping you put it in a nice even line, and making your site look aesthetically pleasing. And I'll tell you, there's nothing worse, and this is a warning to you guys to watch how you build your websites, because there's nothing worse than going to a website and it's a nice clean website, except things are just a little off on the spacing. So you're looking at something going down and it's inline, 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 and then something's a little bit offline and then inline, inline. It's a little disconcerting. So you want to pay attention to your spacing, and that those lines right there on that ruler will help you out a lot. If you want the ruler to go away, you just click it again. And then grid lines, I do not build without the grid lines. I always turn those on. This is the area between this line and this line that's going to show on your computer. So you want to keep everything that you're working on inside these lines. If you don't want the grid lines, all you have to do is click show grid lines again, and it will take it away. And then you've got this area of show hidden elements. If you decide that you're not sure if you want to delete something, but you're not sure if you want to keep it on your website, you can hide it, and it will go into this area. And then when you're ready, if you want to return it, you can actually click the little eyeball that appears, and it will go back onto your site. So it's a place for you to hide things if you're not sure you want it on your website or not, and then you can, without deleting it, you can just hide it, and then later if you want to, you can bring it back. Also, if you're hiding things because maybe this is information about your website, I put colors that I choose inside of the hidden area. If I've got something that I need to remember about a website, I type it out in a text element and then hide it in the show hidden area so that I can have that information there, but it's not showing on the website. So this is a tool that I use to just keep information hidden about the website that I don't want it to show on the website, but I want to be able to take a look at what it is because maybe I have some notes about that website. So that's one way that I use the show hidden elements. Once you get what you want out of the show hidden elements, you have to click it again to get rid of that sidebar. The next one is preview. So as you're building and building and building, you can actually click that preview button and you can see what it's going to look like so far. And then once you take a look and you're happy, you go back to the editor and you can start editing again. And then of course, our favorite button, because he is your friend, and that is save. You want to save and you want to save often. You want to make sure that you are saving as often as you can think about it. And then it gives you a choice. It says saved, and then do you want to publish this website? And you can either say not now or that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and say not now because I'm not ready to publish. There's nothing in there that we can see, so no reason to publish. So those are the toolbars that are available. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and look at your eyeballs and make sure that you understand everything so far. So how's it going so far? Any questions about what I've covered?
I just want to toss in that the feedback also has a place for compliments. What do you like about Cheetah?
Good. Yep.
Not just whining.
Yes. Yes. And please let them know what you like about Cheetah too. I think that's okay because I can imagine the person that has to read through that feedback area. I can imagine that at the end of the day, with all of the negative, they just want to go home and cry a little bit. So I'm sure that it would be really good if you jump in there and do feedback, but make it positive. And there's so many positive things about Cheetah. I'm sure I could find plenty of negative things if I'm trying to be negative, but I'm also positive I can find a lot of positive things, and I am a positive person. So definitely let them know those positive things. That'll actually make their day for sure. I am looking at some notes, so let me look on the side here. Yvonne, go ahead.
My question to the developers was also, how do you know on the pop-ups how big the actual size of it's going to be? Since when you're going into that pop-up page and you're adding your elements, it's all the same size as the actual desktop. Before it was the pop-up gives you that, set size. So the question is like, how do you know?
I don't know that yet, Yvonne, because I think the pop-ups are still kind of being developed. Went in and did some testing and was going to go ahead and try to shoot the video, and it was not ready to shoot a video for it yet. So just hang in there while they're still developing that pop-up, and we'll figure out how we can size that pop-up the way we want it instead of that generic size that it is right now. Okay.
So it is a size though.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. It's not ready. It's not really ready. Yeah, it's not really ready. All right. You'll probably hear me say that a lot, and I'm sorry, but we're in that MVP mode where that was not quite ready to do a full training on pop-ups.
And just another real quick question is, where are the actual templates? Or there are no templates when you go to add an element, or you go to add the panel? Did they break all of the templates actually down into those little sections instead of having an actual templated page?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to add doing full templates, like full site templates, because in Pixel Perfect, we have the choice of pulling in like a full template that's got multiple pages. Right now, the only thing you can do is pull in those panel sections and build that way. So I don't know at this point if they're going to do full-blown, multiple page templates that you can pull in and edit that way. My thoughts are they might do that through Canvas. So when Canvas is connected to Cheetah, there are full-blown funnels, and you can choose the design of them while you're building that funnel, and then click Generate Site, and it generates all the pages and generates all the design. So that's one way that could be handled. But as far as like Pixel Perfect being able to pull in a whole template and pull it in, I'm not sure if that's a direction they're going to go. That's a mystery to me right now too.
So the Pixel Perfect, are you able to actually take payments and everything right now, or no?
Cheetah? In Cheetah? In Cheetah, I'm going to be doing some testing in the next couple days on the Super Checkout. Super Checkout operates though based on a URL. So conceivably, in my mind, it should work because we can do buttons and then we can attach a URL to a button. So it should work that we can send them out to Cheetah and then send them back into a page inside of the Cheetah. So in theory, it should work, but I have to test it to make sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's a lot of testing that's got to be done. All right, any other questions, you guys? All right, let's jump in and do some more. So let me share my screen. All right, so we're still in the Cheetah Builder, and now we're going to talk about how we can build this website. And it's really cool how this is set up, because if I go to this add button, and you're going to spend a lot of time in the add area and in the settings area. So first add, I can add several things. I can add a panel, an element, or I can work with my pre-configured font. So here on fonts, these, if you've ever worked with Cascade styling sheets, this is kind of that idea where you set your font before you ever get started, and then every time you grab an H1, it's going to have this font style. If you grab an H2 text, this is going to be the font style. If you grab an H3, this will be the font style. So it's kind of an idea of presetting before you ever get started, and then once you get started, it will go faster because all your text is actually configured for the entire website and ready to go. But it is tricky because you have to think about what size you need for your different types of text. So an H1 is a really large text, and you can see it's pretty large here. And you can decide which font you want to use, how big the font size is. So here, this is a pretty good size for a font for an H1. And then mobile size, this is where you set the mobile size. So if you want the size to be bigger or smaller, 40 seems a little big for me, so I would go down to about 35. And then the line height, that's the height between the text if you've got two lines of text. So if you make the line height big, the lines go further apart. If you make the line height small, they go closer together and even overlap if you make the line height too small. So an average line height is about 1. I don't put 1.1, I put 1. And you can see right there the line height between those two lines, how they're close together like that. If I increase this, you can see that the line height actually increases. So that's the space in between those two lines. And then if I decrease, and if I seriously go underneath 1, they even end up overlapping. So I can go down, 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 and see how they actually overlap and get squished really bad. So the average line height for any text is about 1. If you want them more spaced out because of the way you're designing your website, then you can increase it. If you want them closer, you can decrease it. Those are all things that you can pre-configure before you ever get started building your actual website. And then let's go to add and panels. And these are the panels that are pre-configured for us. We've got a blank panel. And then here, this is the one we were talking about a little earlier, the first fold. This is that first area they see on the website when they go to the website. And this is the #1 most important area of your website, because this is what's going to set the tone for what the user decides to do, if they decide to stay or if they decide to leave. So if I click first fold, you're going to see some really nice first fold templates, some different colors, different designs, just some really cool stuff. And in this first fold, just like Chip had mentioned, there's going to be an H1 font. And that's important because Google, for SEO, wants you to have an H1 text on there. That helps you to get better rankings, is having that H1 text right on that first fold. So as you go down, that's what they've built for you, is little panels that already have H1 text for you. And that H1 text should be having your keywords in there that you want to rank for. So they are really looking ahead to help you figure out how to set up and get SEO optimized right away. So let's go ahead and pick one. I'll go ahead and pick this one. That looks good. So there's my H1 text, and I've got a little bit of a design right there, a little bit of text right there, and then some buttons. And so that panel is actually there and ready to go. And I can click on the panel. And when I click on the panel, I get this really cool mini toolbar. And on this mini toolbar, I have some things that I can do with the whole panel. I can hide it, meaning stuff it away in the show hidden elements area and hide it from myself and hide it from other visitors. And if I want to bring it back again, I can bring it back in. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to click hide. Oh, looks like it's gone. Oh my gosh, don't panic. It is actually in the show hidden area. So I'm going to show it. There it is right there. And I want you to notice that when I hover over it, it shows me what it will look like if I put it back. That's a cool feature. And then if I want it back permanently, I just click the eyeball and now it's back permanently. Okay. Also, if I click that panel again, some more of my mini toolbar, I have the ability to move it up and down with these little bitty teeny tiny up and down arrows. So when you get a whole bunch of panels in a row and you think, oh, I want this panel to go up higher or this panel to go lower, you can do that by clicking that up and down arrow. You can also duplicate a panel. So I'm going to click the word duplicate, or sorry, the icon for duplicate. And there's my duplicate panel, and then I can start editing from there. If I want to delete a panel, I just click it and get that little mini toolbar, and then I can click the trash can and then click that's fine for confirm. And I've deleted that other panel and I'm back to just one panel. So you can see that there's a lot I can do just on that little mini toolbar that's right there. But then I can do a right click. So I'm going to go ahead and right click the panel. When I right click the panel, I get some more things that I can do with that panel. And let me go back to add. So I went back to add, and I'm going to right click this panel to show you what happens. So right click, that opens up the style settings so I can work on the style of that banner. So I can change the size of the banner. It's like, well, let's make it longer. So I can make it longer like that, right? Just like that. I can use this button and make it like that. I can set the minimum size. This is going to be important for mobile. So if I want this to have a very specific minimum size, like you're not going to go under this size, I can actually make it a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, and it will show on the mobile. And we'll take a look at that in a few minutes. And then the background, what color background do I want for this panel? So I can make the background any color I want to. I can click on it, get that color picker, pick my color, and then click on the little color bar again, and it will take that color picker away. And I can also add an image to the background. So instead of a color, I can do the background as an image. And if I don't like my image once I put on there, I just click trash and it takes it away and goes back to the color that you chose. I can also choose a border for this. And if I choose the border, I just click up to get to the number that I want to, click where it says none, and choose a type of border. There's a solid right there. And then the little blue I can click, and I can choose a different color. And then click that color bar again to get rid of the color picker. And you can see that now I have this that has a border around it. And then if I decide, you know what, I really don't want a border, I can click none. And what I would do also is set it to 0, just to make absolutely sure you've got a 0 border, no design, and then the color doesn't matter. Also, I can do rounded corners on panels. So if I click rounded, and then I go to, I don't know, 25, 25, 25, 25, you can start to see on these corners, if you look real closely, it's rounded, and there's some gray behind it. Let's make it bigger so you can see it. So we'll go 100, 100, 100, 100. Let's see, I think I did that at 10. There we go. And now you can see it a little bit better in this corner right here. You can see that it's a very rounded corner, and that gray of the background is starting to kind of show up. Another neat thing you can do is I can keep this corner rounded, and then keep these two at 0. So I'll put those at 0. And what that does is it rounds this top, but then the banner that goes underneath it will go flush underneath it. There won't be rounded corners to separate them. So that's a really neat thing that you can do. So it creates a neat effect. Let's look at preview and see what it does. So you can see in that corner, we've got those corners showing really well, and that color in the background. So it's just kind of a different way to create a different kind of effect for your panel. And then we've got shadow. So the shadow allows us to put a shadow on the banner. And I'm going to choose the color of gray because I like gray better as a shadow. And then I can actually change it. So I can change the horizontal, I can change the vertical, and you see the shadow starting to show up right here. Then I can blur it a little bit so it's not quite so harsh. And that will kind of show up, and then you put the next panel underneath it, and it can create quite the effect. So there's that shadow right there. It's pretty cool stuff. To me, these are great to use like at the top header, to put kind of a shadow underneath it, so it kind of separates the header out from the rest of the page and creates kind of a highlight effect for the header. So just a design idea. So you can see now that we've got shadow on this round area, shadow on the bottom. So it just kind of creates a little bit different effect for your banner. And then if I right click it again, I want to always right click and make sure I have that item activated. And we've got the ability to do another style of shadow. So I'm going to click this color picker to get rid of it. At the very bottom, I've got something called inset. If I click inset, what it does is it creates the shadow on the inside of the object instead of the outside. And that creates almost a beveled look. So that's what inset means, is it creates the shadow on the inside and creates almost a beveled look. I do like that design, but definitely not for for panels. You're going to hear me say banners a lot because I've said it a lot. But these are panels. But those are some of the things that you can do with the panels for sure. And I'm going to right click it again, and I'm going to go into animation. And because this is a panel, we're not going to see any animation that we can do with the panel. We'll look at animation in just a few minutes. I also have some advanced settings, and in advanced, I can make this panel an anchor point. So if I click it, it becomes an anchor point, and I can name it. That way, when I start creating my menus, I can create that anchor point and have a menu go straight to that panel. So it's really cool because now you can create menus, take them directly to an area inside your website that is an anchor point, and the banner would be the anchor point. So that's really exciting that we have that capability already. If I uncheck that, then we take that anchor point away. And then the other thing is, let's say that I've worked on this for a while and I've gotten it exactly the way I want it, and I'm ready to move on, but I'm thinking, man, this is a really good banner. I might want to use this design on another page or on another website. So I can actually choose Save Element, and I'm going to name it Awesome Banner. And then I'm going to click Save. And what that does is it saves the element so that I can use it again. And if I go in here to my personal area and I go to panels, and then I click that panel, it should show there, but it might be an element. Let's see. Nope, we'll try again. Panel. There it is. Took a minute. But there's our awesome banner. So if I wanted to use this again, all I'd have to do is click plus, and it will throw that exact banner into my site, and I can use it for another page or another website. So that's really cool that we're able to do that. But obviously I don't want the same banner here, so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to the trash can, and then that's fine. So if at any point you want to get rid of your items that you have in your personal area because you're not using them anymore, you can click the trash can, and that will take them out of your personal area. Just remember, if you delete them from your personal area, that means they're deleted. You can't use them again on any other page or any other website. You've taken them away. So if you want that design again, you're going to have to design it and save it into personal again. In the personal area, we have panels as something that you can save, and elements as something you can save. And you can see here, I saved the simple form and I saved the button. So I've got a couple things that I've already saved to my personal area. So let's go back to add, and let's go back to panels. And let's talk about not the first fold, but let's talk about my header, because I don't have a header on this. So I'm going to go and click header. And there's a few designs for headers. I think yesterday there were 3, so now there are 5. And you can pick from any design that you want. I think I like that yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the yellow. And it just takes a single click and it throws it into the website. But I want you to notice that it threw it down, not up. Everything you add when you add panels, it throws it to the bottom of the page. So if I click on this panel and then click my up arrow, it's going to move it up for me. So it's now officially in the top spot as my header. And if you'll notice, I've got my header, and then I've got these rounded corners. So you can see that that's not necessarily a good place to put those. So I can right click that panel, and I can go back to radius, and I can set my corners at 0. So they're sharp corners again, square corners again. There we go. And now we have no corners, so it sits flush up against that header. Now in the header, I have the ability, just like I did in this panel, I can click on it, just a regular click, and I have my mini toolbar. So I can hide it, I can move it up, I can move it down, I can duplicate it, or I can trash it. And then if I right click it, I get to the style settings where I can change the size. So right now I can change it to be a little bit taller, like that. I can change the minimum size for mobile, right? So this is affecting mobile. I can change the background color, which I really like the yellow, so we'll keep it yellow. Or I think this is probably an image. And then I've got some padding here. I don't have a clue what this is. This should be over in this advanced area, so we'll skip over that for now. That was something new. And then on the border, I can actually change to add a border to this. And then radius, I can add corners to this as well, just like I could the other panel. And then shadow. And this is where I really like to use shadow, is on the headers, because it kind of separates it out. So I'm going to make sure that I right click on it to activate that panel. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add a little bit of a border. And we'll see if we can't get it to see what it looks like on the header. So we'll scroll down on here. We'll make the border gray, like this. And then we'll blur it a little bit. And I don't think it's working for shadow for the top yet. So I think that's still something that they may need to work on for the header part. But once that is there, it's usually where it shows up is at the bottom right here, that shadow. And that shadow actually separates out this banner from that banner, and it creates almost a raised look for the header. So it's actually really cool when you get it set up and working right. These right here, let's see, let me click again. So we are in the panel. So again, we've got size, we can change the height. Minimum size, that's for the mobile. Background, that's where we can change the color in the image. And then we've got origin, I don't know. Size, I don't know. Cover, I don't know. Repeat. That's usually for if you have an image. Oh, I think that's what this is there's an image on here, and this is how to control what your image looks like. So on the size of the image for the banner, it's asking, do you want it just automatic size? Do you want it 50% of the panel, 100% of the panel? Do you want it to cover the panel? Or do you want this image to repeat? So if it's a small image, you want it to repeat multiple times on the panel. These are things that I definitely have to play with to see exactly what they do. So we'll play with it more, and then we'll get you some training out on that too. So that's panels, you guys. Now, when we talk about this header panel, again, I'm right clicking and I'm going to animation. Of course, we can't animate a panel. And then advanced, I can create an anchor point on this panel, and then I can actually save it as an element once I get it to where I want to save it to be able to use it again. So that's panels. And we can create many, many panels to create the website. So if I click add and then go back to panel, I can start adding sections to this website. So I'm going to go to blocks, and we'll see if there's cool stuff with blocks. So let's use this one. So I'm just going to single click it, and you can see that it says panel created. So if I scroll down, there's my panel. And then maybe I want another type of panel. So I can do a call to action. And I'll scroll down. There's one with kind of an orangey red button, so I'll click that. So it throws that down to the bottom, and it usually takes a couple seconds for all of the design to come through. And then I close that section, and I can do, let's do pricing. So I'll go to pricings, and we'll pick one like this one here. And there's a pricing panel. And then I'm going to go, last one, a footer. So I'm going to go footer right there, and pick a footer design, which I'll pick this one's a simple one. So there's my footer. So I've now grabbed several different panels. They're all relatively similar in color and style. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work with them for sure, but they're now ready for me to start editing the elements in there. So let's now talk a little bit about the elements. So I can go to add an element and add any element that I want to. Now this is a little tricky sometimes because it doesn't look like you've grabbed the elements. If I click box, Let's say I wanted to add this box here. If I click it one single time, it doesn't add it. It doesn't work the same as panels. If you click a panel one time, it throws that panel in. But if you're working with elements, you have to click and drag it. And I want you to notice that I'm dragging it over this panel, but it sure doesn't look like it's there. But if I let go, it will be there. So that's a little idiosyncrasy that they're working on, but it drops it in there. So now I have a panel and it's got a box in it. And that box is now attached to that panel. So whatever I do with that panel, that box is going to go with it. And then if I regular click on the box, you can see I've got a mini toolbar. And on that mini toolbar, I have an arrow that allows me to center that item. Then I have the show hide button, so I can send it into the show hide area, and then I can bring it back if I want to. I can duplicate this button, or sorry, box, or I can delete this box. So those are all part of the mini toolbar. The next thing I can do is I can actually, let me get here too, up here. There we go. I can right click the box, and that's going to send me to style settings. Okay, right clicking sends me to style settings. So now I can manage the size of this box. I can make it wider, or I can make it taller, either one. I can do a minimum size, and this is for mobile. How tall is the minimum height you want for this box? And when we look at the mobile in just a few minutes, I'll show you how to check that and take a look and see how to manipulate it. The next one is background. What color do you want to be the background? So I can click this button, and let's make it like a blue color maybe. Oh, that's good. That'll work. And we can do our color picker. We can do transparency. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to manipulate this color. Once you get the color the way you want, you just click that color bar again, and it takes away the color picker. I can also do an image behind the box if I want to instead of a color. Then I can do a border. And on the border, I make the size what I want. And then I pick the style of border. And that allows me to put a border on the box. I can also do radius. So I can do rounded corners. I love rounded corners. So there's my rounded corner box. Now I want you to notice that I clicked outside of the box. So if I do any editing right here, you're not gonna see it on the box. You have to right click and activate it. So you should see that little mini toolbar. If you see that mini toolbar, then that tells you that you can work in this area. Then I can do shadow. And on shadow, you guys know I love shadows. So I'm going to do a little bit of a shadow on here like this. I'm going to blur it. The color of the shadow is blue, so I'm going to change it to kind of a blue-gray. And now you can see that that box kind of pops out of the page because it's got that shadow there. So that's what a shadow does. It kind of creates a little bit of almost a motion effect because it looks like it's popping out of the page. So we can do shadow. Also, in our shadow, at the very bottom, we've got that inset. For some reason, mine's not wanting to show real well. Let me move you guys out of the way here. But on inset, if I click that, it takes the shadow to the inside. And remember that that kind of gives it a bevel look. And if you don't like that look, then you can just take that inset away. So uncheck it, and it will keep the shadow on the outside of the box. Okay. The next thing I want to look at is animation. So I'm going to right click it to activate it. So I should see that mini toolbar. And then I'm going to go to animation. Now this is a cool thing that you can do with your elements on your page. But let me emphasize that with great power comes great wisdom. You have to know the wisdom or great responsibility. You need to make sure that you know when to use these animations and when not. They are like super duper cool. But if you have everything animated on your page, it's really noisy to your visitor. So use them sparingly where you think they fit. But let's take a look at some animations and how they work. So I'm going to go on, let's go on click. So I have to click it to see the animation. And then the animation effect, I can click here and I see a ton of animations. So I'm just going to say, let's rotate in down left. I don't even know what that means, but we will actually take a look at what that means. So I'm going to click it. And then we'll make the speed slow, but we can go slow, slower, fast, faster. So I'm going to do slow. And then infinite means, is it going to keep doing it, or do you have to keep clicking? So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So for that box, we've said that on the click, it's going to rotate in down left. So let's take a look at what that is. I'm going to preview. And there's my box. I'm going to click it. Ah, I see. If I click it in, there it is. So that's how that works. That's an animation effect. And remember that with great power comes great responsibility. You want to make absolutely sure that if you're using an effect, that it fits where you're using it. And it's not just gratuitous, meaning you're just doing it because you can do it. So that's animation.
Again.
And then advanced. And advanced is where you can start working with your layers. So if you want to start layering things, so one thing is on top of the other or behind the other, then you can start working with the layers. I think there's still some issues with layers right now. So definitely play with them, but if they are not working correctly, it's okay because the developers know, so they're working on it. And then of course, this element right here, if I right click on it and go back to style and then go to advanced, I can actually save this element in my personal area so that I can use it again in another page or even another website in that account. So that's a lot of stuff that you can do with just the box. So I'm going to take a look at your eyeballs right quick and see if you guys have any questions or anything. So any questions on what we've done so far? No? Oh, Chip, go ahead.
I can just clarify, down left is stage directions.
Okay.
As if
Awesome.
the top is the back of the stage and the bottom is where the audience would be. So the back is upstage, the front is, if an actor's on stage, is their right or left. So it's the opposite of what we see.
Ah, okay. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you. It's nice to have a theater teacher in the room. All right. Any questions, you guys?
Well, I have a hope that as we move forward, that we'll be able to delicately move these elements around as we have in the Pixel Perfect with the up, down, left, and right buttons on the keyboard.
Yeah, I did notice that. You're right, Mike, for sure. The up and down buttons are not usable yet, and Control-C and Control-V is not usable yet. And that really threw me for a loop, right? Because I'm totally keyboard happy. I love doing stuff on the keyboard. And so Control-C and Control-V, copy and paste, come very natural to me to copy something and paste something really quickly. And that's not working in the editor yet. So I haven't asked them to add that back yet, but I will. At some point, I will. So we'll see. We'll see if they do it. Any other comments? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't step on you, but
No,
it is good to see that the menus are working now because they weren't the last couple of days.
right, right. Yeah, I'll
save.
Yeah, I'll jump in and check the menus because I tried to shoot some videos already and couldn't shoot the videos. So
yeah, they're working. I just put them in.
Awesome. That's fabulous. And you configured the menu and everything too?
I haven't got that far yet. I've been listening to.
Yeah, because I could pull them in yesterday, but I couldn't configure them.
I haven't been able to get them to stay until today. So.
Awesome. Frank, question, comment?
Shelley, just out of curiosity, does the animations work on mobile or is it just going to be the desktop?
I don't know. That's a really good idea. Why don't we check that?
Awesome.
You want to check it? All right, let's jump into mobile, and we're going to take a look at the website that we created, what it looks like on mobile, and we will look at that box, Frank, because I won't take it off, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share, and let's take a look at the mobile version. So this is our full website right now, and of course it needs a lot of work, you guys. I've just pulled it in, and I've not done any editing, so I'd have to work on it a little bit. Let's go to preview again, and we're going to look at the whole page. There we go. So, you know, it's not perfect, but hey, I didn't have to do a whole lot of work to pull all that in. So now I'm going to go to mobile and see what the mobile looks like. So I'm going to click this little mobile view right here. And it's going to take me into show me what it looks like so far. So yay, there it is. It's actually a really good interpretation of what I built already. Looks fabulous. And there's that box. Now I want you to notice that box that Frank was talking about. That looks a lot different than the box that was on the desktop, doesn't it? Let's go back and look. So there's that box on the desktop. It's definitely really wide and it's kind of tall, not real tall, but kind of tall. But then you get into mobile and it's like, wait, what the heck happened? It's just a little bitty box. Well, remember that we have to set it on the minimum height that we want. So if we right click it, we can go to that minimum size and I can resize it. So I can determine what size I want it to be as far as height. The width will be determined by the width of the screen, but we can set the height. So the height we can set as really high or, you know, shorter, whatever you want. So that is the way you can manipulate the box on mobile. Now, I want you to also notice that that is the only thing that I can change on the style that does not affect the desktop. This is really important. I want you to write this down in big letters. The style area when you're in mobile view, there's a couple things. There's one thing that you work on, and that's minimum size, because that affects the mobile. But if I do anything to any of these other things, it's going to affect the desktop. Okay, so if I change the background color, let's test it out, because I want you to know that I'm telling you the truth. So let's click the color, and let's change that bad boy to red. So we'll change it over to red. So our color for the box now is red, and you're thinking, great, I have a blue box on desktop and a red one on mobile. If you're thinking that, you are wrong, because if I go back to the desktop, it is going to actually be red. So I want you to understand that when you're in the style area, the only thing that you can change is minimum size on the mobile. Anything else that you change is going to affect the desktop. Okay, that's an important thing to know. So back in mobile, when we change anything here in the style area, besides minimum size is specifically for mobile. Everything else will affect the desktop. So then I hear what you're saying. You're saying, well, then wait a minute, Shelley. How do I change it? How do I change it to be what I want it to be? I don't like the spacing. I want the box smaller. Well, let's talk about how we can do that. We can go into the advanced area, and we have some new buttons here, new features here. And this is padding, left, right, top, and bottom. This does not appear when you're in desktop mode. And that's because this is only for mobile. And what it's telling you is you can change the padding. So padding is the amount of blank space you have on the left-hand side, the top, the right-hand side, and the bottom. So I can effectively change the size of this box by changing the padding. So let's take a look at that. So if I want to put some more space on the left-hand side, I'm going to just increase the left-hand side padding. If I want a little bit more space on the right-hand side, I'm just going to increase the padding. Now I want you to notice that the minimum height stays the same. If I want to change the minimum height, I need to go back to this area right here and change the minimum height. But on padding, I go to advanced. There's my padding numbers. If I want to increase the space on the top, I just increase the space. If I want to increase the space on the bottom, I just increase the space. But I want you to notice none of those buttons change how tall that box is. It only changes how wide it is, and then the space on the top and the space on the bottom. Okay, so that's going to be I think a challenge for everybody at first to figure out. Is in mobile, you're not going to be able to just click and drag it. You're going to have to manipulate it based on first what you set the minimum height to be, and then second the padding. That's going to be how you manage spacing for your items in mobile. So let me go ahead and look at your eyeballs and see if you got that. Everybody got that? Okay, good. So now let's go and look at the live version so we can see if that flippity flip thing works. So let me go to, oh, well, we may not have a previewer here. Let me see. Go back to desktop. So I don't think we have a preview in mobile. Let me see. Preview. Oh, there we go. Mobile. There we go. So now we're looking at the live mobile, and wow, this looks really clean, doesn't it? That always surprises me when we go to mobile how clean it looks. But there's our box right there. And let me click on it. And yes, indeed, the action, the animation is actually right there on mobile. So Frank, it looks like we do get the animation on mobile. Yay! All right, let me go back and we'll do a couple more things and then I will call it a night for you guys. But we just added a box element. That's what we've done here. We'll go back to the editor. And then I want to make sure that I show you a couple more elements. So in the elements area, we not only have boxes, but we have buttons, contact forms, email marketing forms, iframe, image, menu, text, and video. So what's the difference between a contact form and an email marketing form? That's going to be a huge question, I'm sure, because it always was in Pixel Perfect. So a contact form, the ability to forward the information from the contact form when they fill it out and they hit submit, you can forward that to an email instead of mailing boss. Okay, that's the value of a contact form. So let's say I had someone outside of Builderall I built a website for, and they have an opt-in form, but they're not in Builderall, so they're not going to be able to get their email. They're not going to be able to get into Mailing Boss and set up their email. So you can actually set it up. So instead of it sending to Mailing Boss, you can send it straight to them via email. So each time a person fills out the opt-in form, it creates an email, sends it to whatever email you want to send it to, and then that person can do whatever they want with the lead. So that's a contact form and how it works. Real easy to set up. And then the email marketing form is strictly designed to connect to Mailing Boss and add the lead that you have to your Mailing Boss list. So that's the difference between the contact form and an email marketing form. You have full control over what they look like. So if I click contact form, you can see that we've got just pretty well basic forms, but you can change any of that and make it look exactly how you want to. Same way with the email marketing form. If I click there, we've got just some basic designs, and you can take any of those designs, just pick the one that looks the closest to what you want, and then start working on the design. So I'm going to add a blank panel. We're going to kind of play a little bit. So we go up to blank panel, and it's added it down at the bottom. So this is my playground panel, and I'm going to go to elements, and we're going to add a contact form real quick. So I just take this first one, drag it in. It looks like I don't have it, but if I drop it, it sure enough drops on the panel. So then when I click on it, I've got this great little mini toolbar, and it tells me what this object is. I have the center button, so I can center it in the panel. And then the next button is the most important. You didn't see this on the box, but you'll see it on items that have more configurations than just style settings. They have actions, and this form has action. So I'm going to click this little action icon, and when I do, I get to fill out the information on where the results go to. So I can put an email in there of where to send the results. I can put the subject line of that email when it sends. So let's say that I've got a website on underwater basket weaving, and I've got an opt-in form there, and it's a contact form. And when they fill out the form, it sends me the email. In the subject line, it might say lead from your underwater basket weaving website. That way, when I get that email, I know exactly what's in that email, which is a lead. Then you can actually add or delete your fields. So right now, this field has first name, last name, email, and phone number. I can edit them right there. So there's the label, the tag. Is it required? Yes or no. So do they have to fill it out or not? Is it visible? Meaning, is it a visible item field, or do we want to make it hidden? Hidden fields have a lot of value. That's kind of an advanced training, so we'll cover that in advanced training. And then help text. This is to help explain what to do if they're not sure what to put in a field. So if you've got a paragraph field and they know they're supposed to type something in there, but they don't know what they're supposed to type, you can put in a help text and say, don't forget to describe your best quality in yourself. That way they know what to put inside that paragraph field. So you can fill all those out and then click save. And then if there's a field that you don't want, like say the phone number, I can click delete, and it should take it out. And so I deleted the email, the first, and I saw the first name and the last name. So we can also add back. So if I click plus, I can add a text box, a text area, a checkbox, a radio, a select like checkmark fields, date and time. So I'm going to just add a text field. And in this text, I'm going to call it the email. And I'm going to tag it email. And is it required? Yes. Is it visible? Yes. And they won't need any help. And I'm going to click save. And so now I've added that back in, and we can click save. And so now I've got first name, last name, and email. So that's how I configure the settings on what happens with this contact form, is that little action icon on the mini toolbar. Now, if I want to hide this form, because maybe I'm working with something, want to just hide it and get it out of the way, I can click hide, I can duplicate this, or I can trash it. So that's the mini toolbar on what I can do with that object, that element. Now, if I right click, it takes me to style settings, and this is where I can make it look how I want it to look. So over here, I set up the action. over here, I set up how I want it to look. So in general settings, I can have the labels showing. So you can see the labels right there, or I can have them not showing. I can have the placeholders showing, which is right there, or I can have them not showing. I can choose to show the labels and have nothing in the fields, or I can show both. My personal preference is to turn off the labels and keep the placeholders on. The next one is size. So this is what this is the size that your button is. It's not real descriptive what that is, but if I make it smaller or make it larger, this is the percentage of space that it takes up on the form. So this is 100% width, and this is right there is about 50% of the width. I like 100%. I really like it all the way across. The next one is input style. So in these input field areas, what styles do I want? So on the font style, I can change the font. I can change the size to make the size a little bit bigger for that text. Input height, I can make those boxes a little bit higher. I can also create borders around my items. So I can make it like a wood, solid, and then a light gray, like that. So you can barely see it, but you can see the boxes. And then I'll get rid of that color picker. I can also do a radius on those. Let's do a 20 just on the top, not the bottom. And we'll see what that looks like. So you can see my top part is rounded and my bottom is squared. So that creates kind of some real interesting effect on the actual fields. And then the background color of the input fields, right now it's white. If I wanted to do red, oops, I gotta right click. I want to do red. And I fought with this yesterday and the background color didn't work very well. So I think that's still not working. Let's go to preview and we'll see. Preview. Nope, still not working. So the background color is not working. That's actually into the developers, but I could move it back to white just to be sure. And oops, move it back to white. There we go. And then we've got the background of the button. So the background, the input style, right here, the input background color, that's the background color for the fields. This is the background color for the button. So this one I can change. So if I want to change it to like an orangey color, a yellowy color, to like this maybe. There we go. That's, I can change it to orangey color for the button itself. And then the hover color, maybe I want to do that kind of a reddish color. There we go. So now let's take a look at what that looks like in the preview. So if I preview it, you can see that I can actually see that hover color changing. Okay. So back to the editor, I'm going to get that color picker out of the way. I'll go to border, and I can set the border for this. You right click again. So border, set it at 4 and dotted line. So you can see that I have a border around that button if I want to. I don't really want a border, so I'm going to set it at 0. And then radius, and the radius on this is set at 60. To me, that's pretty high for curves. So I'm going to go 20, 20, 20, 20. And there we go. We've got a button that has rounded corners, but it's a little bit square too. So I've got a little bit of design capability there to make it exactly what I want it to be. And then I'll right click it again, and I'll go to button headline. And this is where we set up the text on the button. So right here, I can say join us today. There we go. So join us today. Now that's looking a little bit small, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Make it a lot bigger, and I'll bold it because I can. And I can also add an icon. We've got a lot of icons that are available. So if I click show icon, it's going to show me a big old list of icons. And if I kind of know what I want, like maybe an arrow, I can type in the word arrow and then just click search. And it's going to find everything that's an arrow for me. And there's quite a few of them. And from there, I can actually choose an arrow to add. So I'll just add this one right here. All I got to do is click it and then click select. And it will add it to the item. I don't know why it's not showing. Didn't add it. So let's try it again. Show list. Arrow. We'll add that arrow, I guess. And show. And no dice. So this was working as of yesterday, but today I guess it's not working. Also on the align, if you choose the icon and it shows up like it's supposed to, then you can choose, do you want it on this side of the text or on that side of the text? And then once it shows up, usually it's right butted up against the lettering. So what I do is go in and put one space in there. So you've got the little icon, a space, and then the letters, and that spaces it out a lot better. I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but we'll make sure that the developers know. The next one is the button subheadline, and I can do some subtext. So I can say something like limited seats are available. And that will add to the button. And again, it's not adding. I don't know why it's not adding. This is working yesterday. But you can also change the style of the subheading too. So based on what I have done, it should say limited seats are available, and it should say that right here. And we'll pick the color to see if maybe it's a color issue. So I'll go here. Oh, yep, it's a color issue. So let me go to white. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and click a little bit larger like that. Fabulous. And we'll see if that is the other issue that I had. The icon might have been a color issue. It might be there, but I can't see it because of the color. Let me do this and this and this. Nope, still not showing. So I'm not sure what's going on with the icon, but I'll definitely get that to the developers so they can see it. But as you can see, I've got a lot of control over what things look like, how they're put together. And this was just a basic form that now I've taken it and customized it to fit into my website. And let's take a preview of it so you can see what it looks like in the live mode. And I'm going to go back to the editor, and we're going to take a look at this in mobile view. So I'm going to go to mobile, and you'll see that when we look at it, this button right here is like humunga dunga. And so you may not like that, the way it looks on the way that form looks on your mobile. So you can actually click it and hide it. You can't delete it, but you can hide it. And then you can say, I don't really want that to show. And then on here, panel, maybe element, we can actually add a different panel in here. Let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to add a blank one. So there's a blank panel right there. And then if I go to elements, I can add a different contact form in there. Maybe. It may let me, it may not. I don't think it's ready for this. But you can develop your own option to put a different opt-in in that panel so that you have a completely different one from the desktop. And you can set that button the way you want it, and it won't change anything on the desktop. Because remember, in the element area, if I right-clicked on that panel, let's do show hidden elements and simple form. So I returned it. If I right-click on this and I go to the settings, all of these settings right here will change the desktop as well. So that's the big thing you need to remember is style settings. Everything in here is specifically for desktop. So if you change it, it will change. If you change it on mobile, it will change it on desktop. That's probably the single most important thing to understand about the mobile version is anything in the style settings is going to affect desktop. I can go into advanced. And again, I have that ability to do padding. So I can create some padding that doesn't really change the button part. So we'll be definitely working with developers on the button part of the form because that's the most challenging to get it the right size. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and see if you guys are still with me. Questions? Mark, go ahead.
Yes, there's no duplicate on the button on the form, eh?
There's no duplicate on the form.
Yeah, to hide that form and make another one.
Yeah, no duplicate.
Another question. There's no. Is there any possibility to center the text if you don't have subline?
I think it's
There's no possibility.
No, I don't think there's a button you can push. No.
Because the text is on the upper side. If you just have one line.
It was centered for me yesterday.
I tried yesterday too, and
Mm.
I
So it's
can find
centered
any
left
way.
to right, but it's not centered up down.
No,
Oh, up
there's
down.
there's
Okay.
no way to center the. If you just have one line,
Yeah, I centered it right to left horizontally, but I haven't centered it vertically. My solution to that is to change the size of the button, the height of the button. Well, was I able to do that though? I'm not sure. Let's jump in and see. Hold on. So I'll go to share my screen and go back over here. And I'm going to go to desktop. And we'll find that trusty little form. Maybe. There we go. And I'll right click it. And here's general settings, input style, background, border, radius, button, headlines, general settings, size. So yeah, all I have is the width of the button. So I think the way I worked through it was when I went to the button headline, I actually made the font fit the size of the button. That's how I did it. And then I did no subheadline. So I took that out.
if you erase, yeah,
So that's how I did it. If I make that input style, or sorry, button size, button headline, if I make that smaller, it kind of sizes to the text.
okay, that's the way to do it. I have to put a subline, then erase it.
Yep. Okay. I don't know how I figured that out. I don't even know. I'm a clicker.
Well,
I'm a happy clicker. Go ahead, Mike.
Don't make me laugh. The one thing that I've been watching tonight, and I thought I had it figured out before, was the spaces between the on the forms there, the space between.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that real quick.
I can't seem to get that to
So
change.
right here, let me darken my input style, blah, 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 border. No, that's for the button. Oh my gosh. Input style, input radius, input border. There we go. We'll darken this up a little bit so we can see it better. All right, so now I'm seeing those fields really well. So right here is where I can change the height of them.
Where's that again?
It's you right click it and go to style settings and then go to input style.
Right.
And then on input style, you've got input height. So you can't really change specifically this spacing, but it does make the fields bigger.
That's what I was asking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen a place yet where we can change the spacing like between the fields.
But the spacing that you have between those fields already is much less than what I've got on mine.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. I was just curious when I missed it.
Nope. That's all I see as far as spacing right now. Yeah, and you've got the ability on the mobile to do some padding, right? So there's the outside spaces outside of the box, but inside between the fields, I don't think you have that capability yet. And honestly, guys, if you get to a situation where you're looking at it, you're configuring it, and it's crazy, just delete it and start again and see if you get that same issue. If you get the same issue and it's really wacky, that's when you go ahead and report it and see if the developers can take a look at it and see if they can recreate it. And be as specific as you can when you're giving them bug reports, because not everyone is English native speaking. So if you're not carefully wording everything you say, and I mean over explain, you can never under explain. There's no such thing in Builderall as under explain. You've got to over explain so that, if it takes you 500 words to explain what's going on, do that so that they can clearly see what the problem is. They can reproduce it, and then they will fix it. Okay. All right. Any other questions, you guys?
Shelley, can we do mobile first?
I don't think so. I think you have to do desktop first. I think this is specifically designed to do desktop first.
And last thing, when I try yesterday to connect my domain name,
Mhm.
it's always redirect to builderall.com.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's ready to take you connecting a domain yet. I saw some comments, and here's what happens with the developers. They all speak Portuguese, right? So inside of the area where they're talking about all the things they're doing with the Cheetah, I literally have to take everything and put it into Google Translate and do that to translate. So I've got an idea of what they're talking about, but I don't necessarily have the specifics. But I did see in there that they're working with the domains being able to be connected correctly to the Cheetah websites. Okay, so they're still working on it, I believe. Anything else, you guys? Yvonne, did you learn anything new?
Well, you know what? Actually, I wanted to actually talk to you about on the mobile view about hiding the elements and the fact that the viewer is going smaller. Because on mine, what I had was just a background image on the page, and then I had a button and a text box. But then when I removed the text box, the whole view of the mobile view was smaller. And when I removed the button, then it just basically disappeared to a little sliver. And it's basically saying that you can't have just the background image, because the background image.
I see. Yeah, I see. I think probably to alleviate that problem, we to pull in a box and make it transparent, and make the box the size that you want it, so that that image will show for that background.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That would be my solution: is put in a transparent box, and then it should keep its size.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'll give it a try.
Okay, awesome. If you have any other troubles, just let me know, and we'll get developers in on it. Okay.
Well, I submitted a ticket for it. It's just that I'm still waiting on that. So it's been.
I think that's probably what they're going to tell you to do, because what's happening is you've got a background on there, but there's nothing in that
Right.
panel to make it hold a certain size. So that's why it's shrinking. But if you put the box in there, then it mandates that it stays a certain size.
Okay, and then also on the actual the email marketing form, I didn't see on there. Maybe I missed it about adding CAPTCHA. Was it?
I don't think it's there yet, but let's check. They may have added it, so let's check and see. I'm in my thingy, and I'm going to go to add an element, and we'll do email marketing. We'll go here to a blank panel. Move. And we'll just pull in this one because that looks good. Blue is my favorite color. Try it again. And it's being cantankerous.
Did you need a box or no?
Yeah, I have a panel. But here's what I'm going to do when it's cantankerous like this. Is I'm going to click save. So I click save, and now I'm going to refresh it. And we'll see what it does. I think when I do that, yeah, there we go. When I do that, it's going to reload everything, and now I'm going to try it again. So add element, email marketing form. Email marketing form. Oh, no, I got to click on this email marketing form. There we go. Shelly got it. All right, the first thing it asks you to do is to pick a list. So I just pick that list right there and click select. And now what we're looking for is, what were we looking for again?
We were looking for just adding it onto the actual page, because it doesn't have like the background, the box, and you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have that size of just the email marketing form. It used to look like it had a box that was the background.
I think for that, you'd have to add a box in there like this. And if you want that box to be the background, then you could drop it on the box like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right, so you can do that. Or there's a lot of configure you can do. So just on the form itself, if you right click, you've got all the same type of settings that you had on the contact form. So there's the size for the button, input style, so that's going to change those fields and what they look like. general settings, so we can get rid of the labels. And then input style, we can make that font a little bit bigger. And then input height, we can make that a little bit taller. Input border, we'll make that a little bit darker gray. That. And let's see. Input radius, we'll leave it like that. Input background color, I think that's the one that wasn't working. And background, so on the button, what's the color of the button and the color of the hover color. Border, radius, button headline, and sub headline. So button headline, make that a little bit bigger. There we go. So right now we've got a lot of power actually to change what it looks like. But if you want like a specific color, like all the way behind it, then I would build it and put it on top of a box. And then we have the ability, once you put it on top of the box, I can drag that box around and it's going to go with it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I do want to test something. I want to test if it's going to center on the box. Yep. So it centers onto what it's attached. So you can click that center button and that form will center on the box instead of right on the, well, let me make sure. I'm going to do this. Move it over and then center. Yeah, so since it's attached to the box, it's centering on the box, not necessarily on the panel. Okay.
And were you able to make the input fields longer as part of, you know what I mean, as far as the stuff?
Let's see. Input style. So input height.
No, longer instead of the height.
Oh, so wider?
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. So that's what that, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did that help?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. You're good. All right. Any other questions before I go, you guys? We did a really quick, you know, not a whole lot of information, but we're kind of on hold with a few elements, so it's all good. We do have 20 videos, or not 20, 18 videos that are available on the Builderall Training Center YouTube channel. So I encourage all of you guys to go to YouTube, find that channel, and subscribe, because I'm going to be consistently throwing videos up there for you guys with new information, new videos on features and stuff like that. So you want to just stay tapped into that and see some of the new stuff that's coming out and how it works. Also, I'm sure that those 18 videos in the next couple weeks, there'll be some that are obsolete. So it is completely okay to message me and say, hey, Shelly, you know that video you did on such and such? It is like totally not valid anymore. Can you delete that bad boy and create me another one? And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete that bad boy and I'm going to create you another one. So you can help me keep track of the obsolete videos so we can keep it as updated and fresh as possible. Okay?
Shelley, you said that was on the Builderall Boot Camps site?
Nope, Builderall Training Center. Let me show you guys. I'm going to share my screen. We'll go to YouTube. So let me jump in here, youtube.com, and sign in. I don't have to sign in. Let me go here. So cancel. Oh, let me go in as. Here we go. So we'll go Builderall Training Center. And there it is right there. Real easy to find. Just click on there. And Shazam, there's the training videos. It feels like there's 52,000 of them, but there's only 18. But that will increase as we learn to do more and more with Cheetah. And each one is specifically on an area of Cheetah. So if I go into the Cheetah Builder, what I did was I just went across and I made a video on add and what you can do with add. And then I made a video on settings and what you can do with settings. And a video on personal and what you can do with personal. And then I went in and went to add and elements and did a video on boxes and what you can do with boxes, on buttons and what you can do with buttons. On the email marketing form, they just added the contact form today, so I'll do a video on that one. I did a video on iframe and what you can do with that, on images and what you can do with that. So each item here has its own video to show you exactly what you can do with that item. And how to, make the changes, work with the styles, work in the mobile and advanced and what you can do. So each item has its own video to show you what you can do, okay? And when it gets a little bit more robust, meaning a little bit more stuff in it, then we'll do the mama where we go from here all the way through to here, creating a website. We're not quite ready to do that yet, but man, I'm super excited and ready. Hopefully we'll get there really soon so I can start working on those videos. All right? All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you again for being here. You guys are so awesome. More Cheetah training is coming, I promise. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And don't forget to create something amazing in Builderall. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you, Shelley. Good night.
Good night.